Elon Musk's footsteps echoed through the dimly lit hallway of Tesla's headquarters in Austin. It was 3 a.m., and the building was eerily silent. The cleaning staff had finished hours ago, leaving behind the sharp tang of disinfectant. These were his favorite hours, no interruptions. No distractions, just raw focus. Damn it, Elon muttered under his breath, rubbing his tired eyes. The glowing screen of his phone displayed the Fremont factory's production numbers. He'd been tracking these stats obsessively for a week, but something about them refused to add up. His gut told him something was off. As he passed the front desk, the security guard sat up straighter. Another late night. Mr. Musk? Early morning. Marcus. Elon replied with a faint smile. There's a difference. Has the facility report come in yet? Yes, sir. It arrived about an hour ago. I left it on your desk as you requested. Elon nodded, his thoughts already elsewhere. His focus was on the issue that had been gnawing at him for weeks. The mysterious decline in production numbers for Line B7 at the Fremont factory. The drop wasn't catastrophic, but it was steady, just enough to set off alarm bells in his head. Elon Musk dropped into his chair, the weight of the mystery around Tesla's production decline pressing on him. The facility's report lay unopened on his desk. It wouldn't tell him anything new. On his monitor, the production numbers from Line B7 flashed stubbornly. Output had dropped 15% over 3 months. Energy use and hours worked were steady, but something wasn't adding up. He picked up his phone. Sarah, he said, pull the personnel files for B7's team. Also, get Jerry from security. I need everything on James Chen. Sarah hesitated. It was 3 a.m., but she quickly agreed. Moments later, Jerry was on the line. James Chen? He's been with us 15 years. No issues. Elon frowned. Henderson seemed fine too, until we caught him selling secrets. Get me badge logs, security footage, everything. As he waited, Sarah brought in the files. Chen's wife called HR, she noted. Said he's been working late every night. But here's the odd part, his time cards don't show overtime. Elon's mind raced. He's staying off the clock? Why? Pull up the maintenance logs for B7. Sarah quickly found another anomaly. Maintenance requests had dropped significantly, despite the falling output. Jerry's data came in next. Badge logs showed Chen arriving at 6:45 a.m. daily and leaving well after his official hours ended. Elon watched footage, noticing Chen spending a lot of time near restricted areas after hours. This doesn't feel right, Elon muttered. He's hiding something. Let's find out what. The intercom buzzed. Mr. Musk, the board is asking about quarterly projections. They're concerned about B7's numbers. Tell them I'm handling it. Elon replied, still focused on the security footage. He watched James Chen's daily routine. Everything seemed normal, too normal, methodical, like someone who knew they were being observed. His phone rang. Engineering team here. We've got an issue with the new battery design. Not now. Route it through Thompson, Elon said, cutting the call short. Despite constant interruptions, his thoughts kept circling back to B7 and its mysterious decline. During lunch, Elon called in Mike Thompson, head of factory operations. What's going on with James Chen? He asked without preamble. Thompson looked surprised. James? He's one of our best. Runs a tight ship on B7. Then why are his numbers down 15%? Well, considering the equipment. Considering what? Thompson hesitated. After the last budget cuts, B7's maintenance was delayed. We had to prioritize the newer lines. And Chen never complained? Not officially. He's good at making do with what he has. Too good. Maybe. Elon muttered, pulling up another chart. Energy consumption hasn't dropped with production. Why? Older equipment is less efficient. Or someone's using the power for something else. Elon stood. I want cameras on B7. Every angle. Full coverage. Sir, the union agreements. Handle it. Make it happen by tomorrow. After Thompson left, Elon spent another hour reviewing Chen's personnel file. Employee of the month twice in 2023. Perfect attendance. Glowing reviews. It was all too perfect. A text from Sarah interrupted him. Chen's wife called HR again. She's worried about his stress and asked if his job is at risk. Elon's jaw tightened. He'd seen this pattern before. The dedicated employee. The spotless record. Something didn't add up. Elon Musk paced his office, unable to shake the mystery surrounding B7. Production was down 15% since January. Yet energy consumption and labor hours remained steady. He called Jerry from security. How soon can you get cameras on B7? 24 hours minimum. Jerry replied. You have 12. Full coverage. Best equipment. And keep it quiet, no one, especially Chen, can know. By evening, the security team was nearly ready. Sarah appeared with an update. They'll finish installation before the morning shift. Good. I want a direct feed to my office, Elon said. Sarah hesitated. Chen's been with us for 15 years. Are you sure this is necessary? Bernie Madoff worked for 40. Time served doesn't equal trust. As night fell, Elon stared at the factory in the distance. B7's lights were still on long after the shift ended. What are you hiding? James, he muttered. The next morning, Elon's office became a command center. Camera feeds showed every angle of B7, with Chen moving efficiently through his morning routine. Elon scrutinized the screens, noting every action. Sarah returned with a report. Chen's denied 3 maintenance requests this quarter. The budget for B7 was cut 47%. Who approved that? Elon demanded. The CFO, Martinez, raised a hand. It was part of a cost optimization initiative. Optimization? Elon snapped. Machines running full power but producing less? A supervisor spending his own money on supplies? That's not optimization. Later, Thompson brought more troubling news. Last night's scheduled maintenance was already done, but there's no record of who did it. The equipment's running better than it has in weeks. Elon's eyes narrowed. Keep watching. Whoever's behind this will slip up. As the morning dragged on, Elon Musk canceled all his meetings. His focus locked on the monitors displaying footage of James Chen at work. Chen moved through his tasks with mechanical precision, inspecting stations, consulting workers, and tweaking equipment. Sarah returned with a stack of records. The production logs you requested, sir. Also, Chen's wife called HR again. She's worried, says he's skipping meals and losing weight. Elon glanced at the time. Lunch break soon. Let's see what he does. When the lunch bell rang at 12:30, workers left for the cafeteria. James, however, stayed behind. Zoom in on Station 4. Elon ordered. The footage showed James pulling a toolbox from under a workbench. For the next 45 minutes, they watched James move from station to station, tightening connections, replacing parts, and making adjustments, all using his personal tools. He's doing maintenance during lunch? Sarah said, puzzled. The maintenance team was cut by nearly half. Elon replied, his tone unreadable. Pull up thermal imaging from Station 4. The heat signature showed the machines running cooler. Check power consumption. Elon said. Thompson brought up the data. Down 12% from this morning. Thompson confirmed. And yet, Elon muttered, none of this is in the official logs. What's he doing? And why? Afternoon turned to evening, and James continued his routine. Every action seemed deliberate. His casual conversations with coworkers felt like they could hold deeper meanings. Elon's suspicions deepened. At 6 p.m., Sarah prepared to leave. Will you be staying late? If he stays late, I stay late, Elon said without looking away from the screen. Go home, but be back early. We'll need to analyze everything. As the night wore on, James's actions became bolder. No longer maintaining a facade, he moved urgently from station to station. He ran diagnostics, adjusted machines, and noted everything in a personal notebook. Elon's phone buzzed. Sir, Jerry said, we're detecting unusual power fluctuations in B7. I see it, Elon replied, watching as James powered up machines and ran them through test cycles. Pull up real-time energy consumption. The graph spiked and dipped erratically as James worked. What are you testing for? Elon murmured. At 9 p.m., James packed up his tools and prepared to leave. Elon had watched him modify nearly every major machine on the line, all while documenting his actions in detail. Thompson entered the room, looking uneasy. Sir, I reviewed the maintenance logs. None of this is recorded in the official system. Elon Musk stretched, his muscles stiff from hours at his desk. None of this is happening officially, he muttered, pacing. The question is, why? Why work off the clock? Why use his own tools? Why keep it off the books? Maybe he's worried about liability, Thompson suggested. Unauthorized maintenance could. Exactly, Elon interrupted. If something goes wrong, he's on the hook. But why take the risk? They watched James Chen finish a final walkthrough of the production line before leaving. Follow him on the parking lot cameras, Elon ordered. James, however, simply got into his car and drove away, just like every other night. 14 hours, Thompson noted, but he logged only 8 officially. Elon sat back, thinking, get me everything: financial records, bank statements, credit cards. I want to know how he's paying for these tools. Sir, Thompson hesitated. That might not be entirely legal. Neither is unauthorized maintenance on a billion-dollar production line. Elon's tone was sharp. Something's going on, and I'm going to find out what it is. The next morning, Elon was in his office before dawn. Right on schedule. James' Honda Civic pulled into the lot. Day 2. Elon muttered, sipping his coffee. Let's see what else you're hiding. The day followed the same pattern. James inspected the line, managed his team, and made adjustments. Elon watched closely, noting how James subtly fine-tuned earlier repairs and kept the line running smoothly without drawing attention. Sarah entered with a folder. Here are the financial records. He's been making regular withdrawals from his savings, small amounts that add up, and purchasing industrial supplies. Using his own money for company machinery? Elon frowned. The question is, where are the old parts going? James worked through another lunch break, this time focusing on a troublesome assembly robot. Efficiency is up again, Thompson reported. Elon leaned closer to the screen. Nobody's this good without an angle. Nobody sacrifices this much without expecting something in return. By the third day, Elon's office had transformed into a data war room. Every detail of James' day was analyzed. Yet he remained maddeningly consistent. Early arrival, skipped lunches, late departures, all off the books. Sir, Sarah said cautiously, it's been 3 days. All we've seen is a man working hard to keep the line running. That's all you see. Elon gestured at the screens. I see inconsistencies. Why work off the clock? Why spend his own money? Why not raise hell about budget cuts? Maybe because those channels were cut, Sarah offered quietly. Exactly, Elon said. But why stay silent? Nobody's this perfect without a reason. Keep watching. He'll slip up eventually. By the end of day 3, production numbers had improved by 3%. Convenient timing, don't you think? Elon remarked, scanning the latest reports. Or maybe he's just good at his job, Sarah muttered under her breath. Ignoring her, Elon focused on thermal imaging. The machines were running cooler, more efficiently, despite the lack of official maintenance. Check power consumption against output rates, he ordered. The data aligned perfectly. Everything James did improved the line, yet none of it was documented. As the day ended, Sarah entered one last time. His wife called HR again. She says he's having chest pains but won't see a doctor, claims he can't take time off because the line needs him. The line needs him, or he needs the line, Elon murmured, watching James leave. People don't push themselves this hard for no reason. The screens in his office glowed with empty workstations and idle machinery as the night shift took over. Somewhere in all the data, the answer was waiting. Elon just had to keep watching, keep analyzing, and keep pushing. Nobody was this perfect, this dedicated, without a reason. Morning, sir. Jerry from security stepped into the office, holding a thick folder. We've completed the background check on Mr. Chen's daughter. Elon took the folder without looking away from the monitors. What did you find? Nothing suspicious. Full academic scholarship to MIT, based purely on merit. Perfect SAT scores. Robotics club president. And 3 patents pending for engineering innovations. Patents? Elon finally looked up. What kind of patents? Automated maintenance systems. Looks like she inherited her father's mechanical aptitude. Elon frowned. Or learned it from whatever he's doing here. Cross-check those patent applications with our proprietary technology. Make sure he hasn't been feeding her our trade secrets. Sir, Sarah's voice came from the doorway, carrying a hint of frustration. Don't you think we're being a bit? A bit what? Elon's tone was sharp. A bit thorough? A bit careful? When millions of dollars in production value are at stake. I was going to say paranoid. The room fell silent. Jerry quickly excused himself as Elon turned to face Sarah. Paranoid, he said, gesturing to the screens. Tell me what's normal about a supervisor working 14-hour days off the clock, spending his own money on company tools, and keeping 0 official records. Now we find out his daughter's filing patents while he has access to our most advanced technology? That doesn't raise red flags for you? Sarah held her ground. His daughter earned that scholarship, and everything we've seen him do has helped the company not hurt it. That we know of, Elon said, turning back to the monitors. We keep watching. Something's off, and I can feel it. The morning routine unfolded as usual. James arrived at 6:45, performed his inspections, managed the team. But today, Something was different. There. Elon pointed at a screen. What's he writing? The camera zoomed in on James at his workstation, furiously scribbling in a notebook. Get me a better angle on that page, Elon ordered. The security team adjusted the cameras, but the notebook's contents remained hidden. Moments later, Thompson entered with the morning efficiency reports. Line B7's numbers are up another 2% since yesterday, he said. Of course they are, Elon muttered. He knows we're watching. How could he possibly know? Sarah asked. Experience. Intuition. Or maybe. Elon trailed off, staring at the thermal imaging display. What's that heat signature near Station 6? The cameras zoomed in, revealing a small device generating unusual heat. Get someone in there to check it out quietly. Make it look like routine maintenance. An hour later, they had their answer. It was a small electromagnetic sensor, the kind used to detect surveillance equipment. Son of a, Elon slammed his hand on the desk. He's been scanning for cameras. He knew we were watching from day one. Sir, Thompson said hesitantly. Those sensors are standard issue for maintenance teams. They're used to detect interference or, well, surveillance equipment. Elon began pacing. Why would a line supervisor need one during routine maintenance? No more excuses. He knew we were watching, which means this whole performance, the extra hours, the efficiency improvements was staged. But why? Sarah broke the silence. Why go to all this trouble? That's what we're going to find out. Elon snapped. Inspect every piece of equipment he's touched in the past 4 days. I want to know what he's really been doing. The rest of the day dragged on. James continued his routine. But now every move seemed calculated. Every action part of a hidden agenda. As evening approached, he packed up and left right on schedule. Follow him, Elon ordered. I want to know where he goes. But, as always, James drove straight home without any detours. Later, Thompson returned with a preliminary inspection report. We found something odd at Station 4. What kind of odd? The maintenance isn't just repairs. He's making modifications, improvements. Really, they're brilliant. Efficiency is up, power consumption is down, and component life is extended. Elon's eyes narrowed. Unauthorized modifications to proprietary equipment? Now we've got him. Sir, Thompson added cautiously, these modifications are helping the company. If anything, he's doing us a favor. Elon laughed bitterly. Nobody risks their job, health, and savings for favors. He turned to the screens, where the night shift worked on James' improved line. Tomorrow, we confront him. We'll find out exactly what he's been up to. The surveillance room buzzed with quiet activity as Elon leaned back in his chair, staring at the screens where James Chen tirelessly worked. Around him, his team exchanged uncertain glances, processing the whirlwind of revelations from the past hours. Sarah broke the silence. Sir, are you sure about this? Changing course so drastically. I'm not just sure. Elon interrupted, his tone resolute. I'm certain. Chen's been fighting for something that every one of us missed. If we can learn from his methods, adapt them across the company, it could redefine how we operate not just on B7, but everywhere. Thompson returned, breathless, with a stack of printouts. Here's everything we have so far: Chen's modifications, his cost analyses, and a preliminary comparison with our newer lines. Elon scanned the pages, his frown deepening. Look at these numbers. B7 under Chen's methods is outperforming newer lines that cost us millions to set up. And he's done it with duct tape and a prayer, or rather, with ingenuity and sheer determination. Sarah hesitated, but the board already decided to shut B7 down. Even with this data, convincing them won't be easy. They're invested in the transition to new equipment. Elon placed the papers on the table with a thud. Then I'll show them that the future doesn't have to mean abandoning what works. They wanted innovation, and Chen gave it to them quietly, selflessly, at great personal cost. It's time they recognized that. Jerry appeared in the doorway, looking uneasy. Sir, one more thing. Chen's team seems to be rallying around him. They're working together to keep things running, but they're worried. We've overheard them talking about the rumors of B7 shutting down. Of course they're worried, Elon said. They've been left in the dark while their supervisor breaks himself to keep the line afloat. That ends now. Now? Sarah asked, startled. What are you planning to do? Elon stood, adjusting his tie. I'm going down there. A stunned silence filled the room. Sir, Thompson began cautiously. You haven't set foot on the factory floor in years. Exactly. Elon replied. Maybe that's part of the problem. Let's go. The factory floor was a stark contrast to the sterile quiet of the surveillance room. The hum of machinery filled the air, punctuated by the clatter of tools and the occasional murmur of workers. James Chen was at his station, making precise adjustments to a control panel, his face drawn with exhaustion but focused. He didn't notice the small group approaching until Elon spoke. Mr. Chen. James turned, surprised to see the CEO standing before him. Sir, he said, straightening instinctively. Is there a problem? No, Elon said, his voice measured. But I think there's something we need to discuss. James glanced at the others, Sarah, Thompson, and Jerry, then back at Elon. Of course. Is this about the line? It's about everything, Elon replied. Your work, your sacrifices, your innovations. We've been watching too much, perhaps, and we've seen what you've done for B7. Now it's time for you to tell us. In your own words. James hesitated, then nodded. All right, where do you want me to start? Start with why. Elon said. Why you've done all this, risked so much for a line that was slated for decommissioning. James sighed, looking down at his hands, calloused and stained with grease. Because it didn't have to end this way. B7 still has potential more than anyone realized. And because my team deserves better than to be discarded with aging equipment. They're skilled, dedicated, and capable of so much more. I couldn't just stand by and let that go to waste. Elon nodded, his expression unreadable. And your daughter? Did her future factor into this? James met his gaze. Everything I do is for her. But this wasn't just about my family. It was about doing what's right. Elon extended a hand. Then let's make it right. Together. James stared at the outstretched hand, then shook it firmly. What happens now? Now, Elon said, we take your methods to the board. We make them understand what you've accomplished and why it matters. And once we've done that, we're going to scale it not just across this company, but as an example for the entire industry. The workers nearby, overhearing the exchange, began to gather, their faces lighting up with cautious hope. For the first time in months, the future of, and everyone connected to it, didn't seem so uncertain. As Elon and his team left the floor, Sarah glanced back at James, now surrounded by his team, their determination renewed. Do you think the board will go for it? She asked. They will, Elon said, because tomorrow, they're not just getting a proposal, they're getting a new vision for what this company can be thanks to one man who refused to give up. Elon turned away from the screens, his expression resolute. No more, he said softly but firmly. This ends now. We've been blind, all of us, chasing shiny new toys while ignoring the craftsmanship and ingenuity keeping this company alive. Sarah and Thompson exchanged glances, their admiration for James's relentless efforts now mixed with a sense of urgency to right the wrongs. Sir, Sarah began cautiously. What are you planning to do? Elon didn't answer immediately. Instead, he gazed out the window at the distant lights of B7, still glowing brightly against the night sky. Tomorrow, he said finally, we're not just going to the board with Chen's proposals. We're going to redefine how this company approaches innovation. No more wasteful cycles of planned obsolescence. If we don't value the people like Chen who truly care about this place, we don't deserve them. By the next morning, James Chen arrived at work, exhausted but resolute as always. The previous night's emergency repair had left him with only a few hours of sleep. Yet he was back at his station, inspecting the equipment with the same meticulous care as ever. He was surprised to see Elon Musk and several board members waiting for him in the production hall. Workers whispered among themselves as the unusual gathering drew attention. Mr. Chen, Elon said, stepping forward, his voice carrying across the room. We need to talk. James glanced around, confused but wary. If this is about the modifications, It's not about the modifications, Elon interrupted, a rare smile breaking through his usually intense demeanor. It's about what you've done for this company, what we failed to recognize. James stood frozen as Elon gestured for Sarah to bring up the latest efficiency and cost analysis on a large screen. The data didn't lie. B7, under James's painstaking care and ingenuity, was outperforming several newer lines, and at a fraction of the cost. We reviewed your proposals, Elon continued. We also reviewed your work, every modification, every repair, every improvement. You've taken a decommissioned line and turned it into one of our most efficient assets, all while sacrificing your own time, health, and money. James blinked, struggling to process the words. "We're not shutting down B7," Elon said firmly. "In fact, we're going to fund your proposed upgrades immediately. And not just for B7, we're implementing your maintenance protocols across all similar lines. Your ideas are going to save this company millions." Mr. Chen. The workers around them erupted into applause. But Elon wasn't finished. "More importantly, we're giving you the support you deserve. A dedicated team, resources, and time off to rest. No one should have to carry this burden alone." James finally found his voice, though it was shaky. "I didn't do this for recognition. I did it because I couldn't stand by and watch people lose their jobs. And that's exactly why you're the kind of person this company needs." Elon replied, "Your dedication is innovation in its purest form." As the meeting concluded, James sat at his station, overwhelmed by the sudden shift in his reality. For the first time in years, he felt the weight on his shoulders lighten. Around him, his co-workers approached, patting him on the back and offering congratulations. The next day, B7 became the pilot program for a new company-wide initiative, maximizing the lifespan and efficiency of existing equipment through innovative maintenance and care. The program was named the Chen Method, in honor of the man who had saved the line and reminded everyone of the power of dedication and belief in possibilities others had dismissed. For James, it wasn't just a victory for B7. It was a chance to rebuild his life, knowing his sacrifices had made a difference. For Elon and the company, it was a lesson learned that sometimes the most extraordinary innovations come not from new technology, but from the unwavering dedication of the people who refuse to give up.